Engaged in speaking the glories of our dear most beloved Shri Radha Murlidhar, Shri Gaura Chandra ki jai, Shri Radha Govinda Dev ki jai. It's because it is one of those days where I feel like so much wants to come forth. We'll get started without too much further ado. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So today is Yogini Ekadashi, and as I said before, I feel so fortunate to be able to somehow or other speak on the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Somebody is saying the sound is low. Is that true for everyone or just the one person?
Sounds fine to me.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So I feel incredibly fortunate, and in a way where I would like to really dive into that good fortune. This is a good fortune that is available to all of us. This is a good fortune which can change the trajectory of our lives, whether we know it or not. Simply speaking, the glories of Sri Krishna changes our lives and everyone else's lives around us. Yesterday was a day of initiations given by His Holiness Srila Radhanath Maharaj, and I was reflecting on both of my initiation days. And during my Brahman Diksha initiation day, my Guru Maharaj was stressing that our duty, if we are to take up the mantle of becoming Brahminical somehow or other, our duty, our incredible responsibility in the best way is to somehow teach. And Srila Prabhupada spoke this instruction to Yamuna Devi many, many times. And if you don't know about Yamuna Devi, she's a very, very dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada. She has a book about her life story. Please look into that book, get that book, read that book. It is so important for us to read about the pioneers of our history as Vaishnavas, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, as those who are somehow or other trying to follow Srila Prabhupada, who did an impossible task, who risked everything to perform an impossible task, risking everything to come to this place, to come to New York, to try and give Krishna. And so one of the instructions that he gave to Yamuna Devi very often was, whatever you have learned, try and teach someone else, one or two others. Just try and give that to someone else. And so I was reflecting on the joyful responsibility. There are so many responsibilities in life that are difficult to do. This one is not. Yes, there are always going to be trials and tribulations. There will always be obstacles that come across. There will always be austerities. There will always be things in the material world, because the material world is going to do what the material world does. But the ability to somehow or other teach someone else something about Krishna is not too difficult a responsibility. It is not so austere. It is not such great tapasya that we have to stop our eating and drinking functions. We don't have to hold our breath. We don't have to go into long extended poses of stretching our bodily limbs. We simply have to somehow or other bring our minds to Krishna and bring Krishna into our minds, which then, of course, easily obeys Krishna's instruction within Sri Bhagavad Gita. Just think of me. Become my devotee. Offer your prayers, your homages unto me. Do something for me. Just the littlest thing that you can. Try and do that for me. And surely you'll come to me, I promise. So sometimes we can wonder, how are we supposed to follow these instructions? Krishna has made it easy. Just teach someone else something about Krishna. And it doesn't even have to look like it's in the form of teaching. Share something that you love about Krishna. You all are Srimad Bhagavatam warriors. Been listening to so much Bhagavatam. Been listening to so many stories of great devotees who have overcome so many great things. Pick a favorite part. Go over it again in your free time. Because we all have some free time. There's not one of us that can say, I have absolutely no free time. Otherwise, we have to reevaluate our lives. But we all have some free time. What are we choosing to do with it? Pick a favorite thing. Pick a favorite pastime. Pick a favorite section of Srimad Bhagavatam. Go over it again and again. If you do nothing but memorize that one story, your life will be perfect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would gather together, and he would hear the stories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he would beg Gadadhar Pandit, no, speak it again. Speak the story of Prahlad Maharaj again and again. Speak the story of Dhruva Maharaj again and again. 100 times he would ask. Imagine if we picked our favorite part of Srimad Bhagavatam and thought, let me listen to this again and again 100 times, then pick a new favorite part. Imagine what realizations would come to us. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is reciprocating. I promise. Srimad Bhagavatam is speaking back to us. The Lord is always communicating and reciprocating with us. Sometimes using other devotees. Sometimes using days like Ekadashi. Sometimes using Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Katha can be and will be our dearmost friend. Vaisheshika Prabhu was giving an initiation ceremony last week, and he was speaking in that initiation ceremony, and he said that more often than not, we hear God before we see him. We hear Krishna before we see Krishna, because we have Srimad Bhagavatam. He said sometimes it comes to a point where we can actually hear our way back to Godhead. We hear within Brahma Samhita, within the pages of Shri Upanishad, we hear that the Lord can perform any bodily function through any of the limbs because he is absolute and perfect and supreme. Right? This means that he can eat with his eyes. So when we feed the Lord, we understand he's glancing over it, still eating, but this time with his eyes. And we think, I am part and parcel of Krishna, but I don't have any mystic potencies, but we do. Because we can hear the presence of Krishna. We can drink in the nectar of Krishna Katha through the ears. That is mystic potency. Somehow or other, Krishna has given us this mystic potential, this ability, that we can hear so much. We can drink Krishna in through our eyes by reading the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam again and again. Now available worldwide over the internet. So we don't even have excuses anymore. All we have is a willingness. Are we willing? Do we desire? So, today's Ekadashi story is about someone who is willing and desiring, who has a great need. Let's see if we can also come to understand our great need through this wonderful Ekadashi Tale. Yudhishthir Maharaj said, O Supreme Lord, I have heard the glories of the Nirjala Ekadashi, which occurs during the light fortnight of the month of Jeshta, May-June. Now I wish to hear from you about the Shuddh Ekadashi, which occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashad, June-July. Kindly describe to me all about it in detail, O killer of the Madhu demon, Madhusudan. The Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, then replied, O king, I shall indeed tell you about the best of all fasting days, the Ekadashi that comes during the dark part of the month of Ashad. Now, once again, we are now able to hear the direct words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead before we've been able to see him. So we get to hear Krishna before we see him. Famous as Yogini Ekadashi, it removes all kinds of sinful reactions and awards supreme liberation. O best of kings, this Ekadashi delivers people who are drowning in the vast ocean of material existence and transports them to the shore of the spiritual world. In all the three worlds, it is the chief of all sacred fasting days. I shall now reveal this truth to you by narrating a history recounted in the Puranas. The king of Alakpuri, Kuvera, the treasurer of the Devas, demigods, was a steadfast devotee of Lord Shiva. He employed a servant named Hemamali as his personal gardener. Hemamali, a yaksha like Kuvera, was very lustfully attracted to his gorgeous wife, Swarupavati, who had large enchanting eyes. Hemamali's daily duty was to visit Mansarovar lake and bring back flowers for his master Kuvera, with which he would use them in the puja offerings to Lord Shiva. One day, after picking the flowers, Hemamali went to his wife instead of returning directly to his master and fulfilling his duty by bringing the flowers for the puja. Now, if any of us have been thinking about not just what this story is, but who is speaking this story, can we imagine Sri Krishna's facial expressions? Sometimes a telling, a knowing glint in his eye. Sometimes a mischievous smile because the Lord knows what is coming next. Sometimes compassion welling up within his eyes for his dear devotees. Understanding that these Pandavas will need these Ekadashi fasts more than they know. Because some of these were recounted even before they went through 12 long years of exile and a 13th year of incognito anonymity. So imagine, not only is Sri Krishna telling this story, but now his heart is overflowing with compassion for his dear friends. And also with the joy of knowing what comes next. Absorbed in loving affairs of a bodily nature with his wife, he forgot to return to the abode of Kuvera. O king, while Hemamali was enjoying with his wife, Kuvera had begun the worship of Lord Shiva as normal in his palace and soon discovered that there were no flowers ready to be offered in the midday puja. The lack of such an important item, upachar, angered the great Koshad Yaksha, treasurer of the Devas, even more, and he asked a Yaksha messenger, "Why has dirty-hearted Hemamali not come with the daily offering of flowers? Go, find out the exact reason, and report back to me in person with your findings." The Yaksha returned and told Kuvera, "O dear Lord, Hemamali has become lost in freely enjoying with his wife." Kuvera became extremely angry when he heard this and at once summoned lowly Hemamali before him. Knowing that he had been remiss and dawdling in his duty and exposed as meditating on his wife's body, Hemamali approached his master in great fear. The gardener first paid his obeisances and then stood before his lord, whose eyes had become red with anger and whose lips trembled in rage. So enraged, Kuvera cried out to Hemamali, "O you sinful rascal! O destroyer of religious principles! You are a walking offense to the Devas. I therefore curse you to suffer from white leprosy and to become separated from your beloved wife. Only great suffering is deservedly yours. O low-born fool, leave this place immediately and betake yourself to the lower planets to suffer." And so Hemamali fell at once from grace in Alakpuri and became ill with the terrible affliction of white leprosy. He awoke in a dense and fearful forest, where there was nothing to eat or drink. Thus he passed his days in misery, unable to sleep at night due to pain. He suffered in both winter and summer season, but because he continued to worship Lord Shiva himself with faith, his consciousness remained purely fixed and steady. Although implicated by great sin and its attendant reactions, he remembered his past life because of his piety. After wandering for some time here and there, over mountains and across plains, Hemamali eventually came upon the vast expanse of the Himalayan mountain ranges. There, he had the wonderful good fortune to come in contact with the great saintly soul, Markandeya Rishi, the best of ascetics, whose duration of life, it is said, extends to 7 of the days of Brahma. Just to give us an example of what that's like, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that within 1 day of Brahma, there are about 14 Indras who come and go. So imagine having the lifespan of 7 of those days. Markandeya Rishi was seated peacefully at his ashram, looking as effulgent as a second Brahma. Hemamali, feeling very sinful, stood at a distance from the magnificent sage and offered his humble obeisances and choice prayers. Always interested in the welfare of others, Markandeya Rishi saw the leper and called him near. "Oh, you! What sort of sinful deeds have you done to earn this dreadful affliction?" Hearing this, Hemamali painfully and ashamed replied, "Dear sir, I am a Yaksha servant of Lord Kuvera, and my name is Hemamali. It was my daily service to pick the flowers from the Mansarovar lake for my master's worship of Lord Shiva. But one day I was negligent and was late in returning with the offering because I had become overwhelmed with lusty passion for enjoying bodily pleasures with my wife. When my master discovered why I was late, he cursed me in great anger to be as I am before you. Thus I am now bereft of my home, my wife, and my service. But fortunately, I have come upon you, and now I hope to receive from you an auspicious benediction, for I know that devotees such as you are as merciful as the Supreme Lord, Bhaktavatsal, and always carry the interest of others uppermost in their hearts. That is your nature. O best of sages, please help me." Soft-hearted, Markandeya Rishi replied, "Because you have told me the truth, I shall tell you about a fast day that will benefit you greatly. If you fast on the EKADASI that comes during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashad, you will surely be freed of this terrible curse." Hemamali fell to the ground in complete gratitude and offered him his humble obeisances again and again. But Markandeya Rishi stood there and lifted poor Hemamali to his feet, filling him with inexpressible happiness. Thus, as the sage had instructed him, Hemamali dutifully observed the EKADASI fast, and by its influence, he again became a handsome yaksha. Then he returned home, where he lived very happily with his wife. Lord Sri Krishna concluded, "So, you can readily see, O Yudhishthir, that fasting on Yogini Ekadashi is very powerful and auspicious. Whatever merit one obtains by feeding 88,000 Brahmins is also obtained simply by observing a strict fast on Yogini Ekadashi. For one who fasts on this sacred Ekadashi, she, Ekadashi Devi, destroys heaps of past sinful reactions and makes that person most pious. O King, thus I have explained to you the purity of Yogini Ekadashi." Thus ends the narration of the glories of Ashad Krishna Ekadashi, or Yogini Ekadashi, from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So, speaking Krishna Katha changes everyone's life. Markandeya Rishi becomes quite pivotal in the years of exile, and Arjuna, in a moment of despair, thinking about all the trials that his family has gone through, actually also comes upon the sage Markandeya Rishi, and he begins to ask the sage, "Has anyone ever suffered as much as me?" Markandeya Rishi, being the wonderful sage that he is, speaks again some Krishna Katha for Arjuna, And he tells him the story of the Ramayan, telling him, oh, my dear boy, if you think you have suffered, just see how the Lord of the universe, Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan, has also suffered. See how these things are happening in this material world. So this is the great benediction and blessing of Krishna Katha. And no matter what our fasting looks like on this Ekadashi, if we can somehow find a way to speak some Krishna Katha today, we have improved ourselves greatly. We have also improved others greatly. Sometimes we think, but I don't live near anyone. Send a voice note to a friend. Anybody have those friends that send them voice notes and basically too long to type, they don't feel like typing, but they've got to tell you the message of whatever it is that they want to tell you, and then they send a voice note? And I have friends that sometimes will send very long voice notes, and I kind of like it because it's like hearing a podcast from my friends. So I've come to enjoy hearing those voice notes. And usually they're about different responsibilities, planning, organizations, new schedules, kirtans, etc. But if you think, I don't live near anyone, send a voice note to a friend. Read a little Krishna Katha. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur stated, if you have no one around you, then you preach to the four walls, eagerly. Read aloud. Pull up a picture of your favorite deities. First, try and have some favorite deities. And then pull up a picture of your favorite deities. Shri Shri Radha Murlidhar is always available. Shri Shri Radha Govinda are always available. Shri Gaura Chandra is always available. So pull up a picture of your favorite deities. Pull up a picture of Tulsi Devi, if you don't already have one in your home. And just read before them. Because I guarantee you, they enjoy hearing Krishna Katha over and over again. And whether it's one small chapter from Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, from Sri Bhagavad Gita, from Srimad Bhagavatam, choose a favorite. Choose something which brings joy to your heart and read it. Then maybe chant some japa, then read it again. You don't have any lack. There is nothing lacking in that opportunity to serve. You don't have to be anywhere special. You don't have to do anything really special. All you have to do is simply dive into Krishna Katha, which is life-giving. Srivas Thakur, his disappearance day was yesterday. He is the incarnation of none other than Sri Narada Muni. Narada Muni loves Krishna Katha. Yes, this is something we can all agree on. Narada Muni loves Krishna Katha almost as much as he loves to speed along the process of pastimes. Almost as much as he loves to get involved in so many different pastimes. But he loves hearing Krishna Katha. You can ask him to be present. Oh, Sri Narada Muni, please be present here. You know who also loves hearing about the Lord? Hanuman. Ask Hanuman to become present. Oh, Hanuman, please become present. And then read stories of Sri Ramachandra. He says he must be present wherever that is going on. So there's no lack of service for us on these Ekadashi days, and on any day for that matter. And Sri Krishna will tell us these wonderful stories and remind us that, oh my dears, you will need these Ekadashis more than you know. We have no idea what will come upon us in our lives. However, we can always take shelter of Krishna Katha. And we know that that will stay with us. In this endeavor, there is no loss, no diminution, and a little advancement on the path is enough to save one from the most dangerous type of fear. You don't have to take my word for it. That's Sri Krishna from Bhagavad Gita. But do we believe him? If we've given ourselves the opportunity to, you ever wonder what you would do if you weren't so fearful? We have those questions in life. What would you do if you were completely without fear? I urge us to ask ourselves these same questions in our Krishna consciousness. How would we progress on our Krishna consciousness if we simply allowed ourselves to be without fear and to stop doubting? What if we gave our minds a break? Oh, my dear mind, you've spent so many days coming up with this doubt and this problem and that problem and this trigger and that trigger and all of the things that cause all of the dirt in our heart to be churned up. My mind, you've been so busy with that for so long. Let me give you a break. And for one day, let there be no doubts about Krishna or his mercy. Let us take everything literally as true. Let us simply take it as fact that Krishna's mercy is waiting for me. And if we were to title this episode in the days of our lives to say, this is the episode where Krishna's mercy is undoubtedly waiting for me, what would we do? Would we chant more lovingly? Would we read more sincerely? Would we run all around town telling our friends, do you know, Krishna's mercy is waiting for me? Well, that's true every day, if we allow ourselves to get out of our own ways. And so on EKADASI Day, this is a day where I try to allow myself to get out of my own way. And then, even if you think, well, I'm not so good at reading things, there are loads of playlists on YouTube and on Spotify and on many other places where you can get your audiobooks and podcasts. There are loads of them. Podcasts, audiobooks, lectures, where others are speaking Krishna Katha. Find a favorite. And then listen to it. And then listen to it again. And again. In the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was saying, again, please recite it again. Recite it 100 times before moving on to the next pastime. But for that, we have to allow ourselves to have a favorite pastime. Have we delved into Srimad Bhagavatam enough to have some favorites? Have we had some parts that we've heard and we thought, whoa, I really like that part. Or, oh, that was an adventurous part. The incredible pastime of Vritrasura is so enigmatic, so mysterious, so mind-blowingly incredible, baffling. If you haven't heard it, go find it. It is a very, very incredible tale about how one king, who was on his way to the spiritual world, becomes a demon. If that doesn't pique your interest enough, then find the story of Prahlad. The story of how one 5-year-old boy stood up to his demoniac father, who had tried for months to kill him, which encouraged an incarnation of the Lord never before seen. An incarnation who appeared simply for him, the Lord who is Bhaktavatsala. If that doesn't pique your interest, try the story of Dhruva Maharaj. We could go on about this all day, actually. Just let me go. I could go on for a long time, but my dear brother Ananda told me that I have to leave some moments for burning questions. But my point is, find a favorite section. Sometimes we are so caught up in our responsibilities, our obligations, our duties, that we forget that this spiritual life is supposed to be joyfully performed. Find something that excites you about Krishna. Hear about the stories of Lord Ramachandra and then hear about them all over again. Find the stories of Sri Krishna and then hear about them all over again. And take them as truth. Give your mind a break from the doubting. Simply extend your belief. We do it all the time for movies, and for fantasy stories, and for anime, and for all of the things in the world that we decide that we want to put our faith in for that amount of time. But for Krishna, we run away. That can't be. No longer should we run away from Krishna Katha. Now let us run towards it as fast as we possibly can. This is what gives us hope and solace when the hard times come upon us, and they will. But when they do, we will have an arsenal. We will have Krishna's protection in the form of Krishna Katha. So I pray, may this Ekadashi day give us all strength. May Ekadashi Devi destroy heaps of our sinful activities. And may the pastimes and the unparalleled sweetness of Krishna Katha protect us always. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Ekadashi Devi ki jai. I did the things, now he's gone.
Thank you so
What?
much.
Oh, is he
Go
there?
ahead.
Ah, okay.
Go on.
No, please go on.
And we just want to thank just tremendous class, just tremendous sparkling presentation as always. And Krishna is so merciful. Krishna is so merciful to provide these means of purification. And of course, whenever we hear these, we know that although sometimes it seems like the emphasis is on relieving sinful reactions or getting back to a cozy relationship with your wife, like after you perform the EKADASI, that ultimately these are stepping stones to the platform of uninterrupted devotional service to Krishna, which is the real satisfaction of the soul. That's all. Devotional service is the life of the soul. And these things help us to purify, get rid of some of the blockage and the garbage in the places where we're stuck so that we can progress toward loving and pleasing Krishna. And very much, you made a wonderful point about how Krishna is so pleased if we just try to explain anything we've heard about Krishna consciousness to someone else. I was just reading last night how Prabhupada said he was writing to Moga Lila, I think, and he was saying, I'm so grateful that you're listening to the Bhagavatam, that these translations, these purports, this is my gift to you. I've sacrificed to carry this to you and please Krishna by sharing Krishna consciousness with others. And we're meant to do the same thing. Okay, all glories to Prabhupada. Sorry to talk so long.
Oh, I feel like that wasn't long enough. Can you imagine? Can you imagine one day if you are able and Srila Prabhupada comes to meet you at the end of our lives? He says, so, what have you done? Can you imagine how excited and happy he would be if we said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and do you know what my favorite part was? Srila Prabhupada said, if we can read just Krishna book, we can make our lives perfect. Fine, just read one chapter, we can make our lives perfect. Fine, you can read one paragraph, memorize one sentence of Krishna book, and it can make our lives perfect. Srila Prabhupada was so willing to make everything as easy for us as possible. Our Guru Varga, our whole parampara, our whole system of elders are simply begging us. And I say simply because it's actually hugely begging us. If an elder came before us, fell flat on the ground, I'm begging you, we would think, oh, whoa, wait, get up, please. What's happening? And if they said, I'm just begging you, we would want to take that as our life's goal and order, isn't it? Srila Prabhupada is simply begging us, before us, now putting himself as a servant, simply begging us, just take a little of this process. Watch how it changes your entire life. I cannot in good conscience get to the end of my life to see all of my elder well-wishers and tell them that I didn't take this chance seriously. I can't do it. And so somehow or other, I have to be Krishna conscious, one day at a time, one small moment at a time. And I have to leave perfection up to everyone else. May not be perfect. I don't even know what perfection is. But somehow or other, I really like reading. And I really like listening to pastimes. And if that's all that I can do, then this is the glory of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami's life. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, unlike the other 6 Goswamis, didn't write any books. And Srimad Bhagavatam was his deity. He had the unparalleled gift to recite the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam in so many different melodies, so many different ways. And it was enchanting to hear. Others would cry hearing his recitations of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should never think, that's all I can do. Any of it is the most that we can do. And I feel so grateful to have a community of devotees which always reminds me to do the most that I can do, especially on EKADASI. I'm just gonna come back here and call on people if no one else says anything. He's gonna know. He's gonna be summoned. Oh, thank God. Min.
Come here. He wants to speak.
Ah,
Right. Thank you so much for the beautiful class. I had a question about what do we do when we feel like our reading is going down, or if we feel like if we're not so inspired in our reading. You mentioned about how merciful Srimad Bhagavatam and the different books are. So yeah, maybe could you share something on that?
sure.
Yeah.
If we feel like our reading has become a little drier, first thing is pray to Srimad Bhagavatam, and then
Maybe.
find good lectures. And then here's one thing, right? If you're trying to read Srimad Bhagavatam and you are finding it difficult to get through Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Dharma Prabhu from the UK has done an incredible service with his Brilliant as the Sun series. He does several books narrating the stories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he really brings in the points that Srila Prabhupada likes to make within Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's not as though you are missing anything. You are gaining so much, and it's all kind of in narrative form. And those help me get through the more philosophically troubling parts of Srimad Bhagavatam for me. Not because I doubted Srimad Bhagavatam, but only because my brain was way too small to understand what they were talking about. So it's the Brilliant as the Sun series. It's available on ebook. It's available on audiobook. It's available in print copy. Run, don't walk. If you are having trouble and you would like your appetite to be increased for Srimad Bhagavatam, please do yourself a favor and go get those. He's done all the way up to the 10th canto. And I've heard that he is having... What happens with devotees is we think, well, who am I to describe Krishna's pastimes? And so it's a little one of those crises. So my goal, my hope is that if so many devotees read the other 9 cantos and then they continue to write to him like I've been doing, saying, no, we encourage you, please keep going, do the 10th canto, then he'll do it with no fear, knowing that the devotees are eager for the service. So, Brilliant as the Sun series by Krishna Dharma Prabhu. And he has also done Mahabharat, which became very famous, and the Ramayan, which is incredible, actually. Really good Ramayan. So I really, I recommend all of them. And then, like I said, a lot of them are also available on audiobook. So have an immersive reading experience. Listen to the audiobook as you're reading. You can also listen to Srimad Bhagavatam as you read it. Amala Bhakta Prabhu, now Swami, was the narrator of my childhood and beyond. I grew up with story tapes, and he would narrate. And he did a children's narration of Krishna book where he did all kinds of voices. He did all of the adult Krishna book. He did Srimad Bhagavatam. He's done Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all of them are available on YouTube. So where there's a will, there's a way.
May I offer a comment? But
Sure.
excellent question. He's concerned that he's not experiencing what he expects to experience when he's reading the Bhagavatam. And you already answered this very nicely, just to reflect back that we're reading the Bhagavatam as an offering to Krishna, not for my entertainment, but as an offering to the Lord. And Krishna is pleased when we're offering something to him, and he's most pleased when we're reading the Bhagavatam to someone else, like you very nicely explained. If we're actually giving it to someone, when we hear, just like when you're with a child and the dog goes by, oh look, doggy, doggy, you're seeing the dog through the child's eyes. When you see the Bhagavatam through the eyes of someone else it's so refreshing. We're meant to not just be Krishna conscious, but to give Krishna consciousness. That's pleasing to Krishna, and then we will be, as a byproduct, feel satisfied and loving. Does that help you, Prabhu?
Yes, thank you both so much.
Give to someone.
Yes.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Well, please Krishna, offering to Krishna.
Right.
Oh, go on. Everything you said was wonderful too.
No, thank you. I just want to get to Min because she's had the hand up online for quite some time.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for class. I just wanted to share with you. I forget which EKADASI we observed the last time, but you spoke on that, and I think my heart was open to sort of hear it, and I followed it that day. For the first time, really kind of with a little bit of more seriousness, and in a most simplest bare minimum way, actually. Like I didn't do anything, crazy. It was the most bare, a minimum way. And that day I was reading a portion of Nectar of Instruction, and I didn't pick this text. That's where naturally I ended up. It was the next verse to pick up, which was text 8. And Prabhupada starts speaking about making the mind our friend. And I realized that my mind wasn't friendly enough to actually so far that observing Ekadashi wasn't a worthwhile thing to even try. And after reading that verse, I just that whole day, for whatever reason, I went about the day feeling so much of Krishna's presence and grace. And I just felt like and Rupa Goswami summarizes the whole instruction in that verse by saying, just spend all our time hearing and chanting. And you just spoke about hearing so much, emphasis on hearing. And it just, for me, and Rupa Goswami also says, follow the footsteps of the devotees who love Krishna. So I just love hearing from the devotees in this platform, and especially about Kadashi, because I feel like I could really follow what you're saying and feel Krishna. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I had such an amazing day last time, and at the end of the day, I was like, oh, is it because I put a little bit of effort forward towards Krishna? It was amazing.
Oh my goodness.
The Lord is celebrating you, Min, also.
Adi Purusham Tamaham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Layaksham Sundarangam Kandar Kamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Hari
Bhushan
Amaham
Amaham Vachami
Hari
Bhushan
Amaham Govindam Hari Purusha Amaham Vachami Anjali Sakalan Priyavi Mandi Asyan Pan Kalyanti Tiram Santi Shimaya Sadhu Kala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Sali Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Okay.
Jai. Shishirada Murlidhara Shri Gaura Chandra Ki Jai. Bhima Prabhu, my friend.
Prabhujini. Can I be heard okay?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Geez. What was it I wanted to say? I pray to the pray to the Lord, my soul to keep. Um, um, just trying to remember what my little disheveled here. I had to do a little wrangling with the horses. Oh yeah, about reading. I find it's amazingly enough. This is just for me. And I used to be an avid reader of a lot of things. I majored in literature and philosophy in college, which will get you nowhere, of course. It'll get you in the movement if you major in literature and philosophy, because the philosophy behind the literature of Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, is undeniable. And as Radhanath Maharaj one time when I was trying to create an excuse, he says, you can't shoulder fake, which is something that you do in football. You run downfield and you throw your shoulder to the right, but you head to the left, and it fakes out. You can't shoulder fake the truth. Maharaj said that you can't spin around the truth. He's going to nail you. You're never going to get to the goal line. He's got you. He's got you in this game, and that's what the Bhagavatam is. That I have found that sometimes, just like what you said, sometimes you can read one line from the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, and quite frankly, one line from Prabhupada's purports. And that line you can hold with you during the day as that rope to the fact that, well, all this stuff that's going on around me it seems like a whole lot of BS, from the world, what's going on in the world, on this planet, and what's going on in the world of our mind. Pretty soon we're just like swirling of people like me who are out here, not surrendered devotees. They don't swirl, they twirl in kirtan. But for those of us who are out in space, so to speak, we swirl, but that one line we can hang on to is that one line that you might read or hear. And when I come to Bhagavatam class in the morning, I say, okay, Krishna, just give me just that one line that I can remember all day. I'm such a simpleton. Just give me one line that I can remember. And not only does Krishna give you a line or words, he, at least it has happened for me, that I'm given examples, anecdotes, little stories throughout the day. Maybe a devotee will tell me a story, or maybe I'll live through a little short story, or something will be presented wherein it coincides, it intermeshes into what the Bhagavatam was saying to me on that day. And when you triangulate the truth like that, which is my experience, the experience of the Bhagavatam teaching you, and of course the person, whether it be Srila Prabhupada through his purports or the devotees through discussion, you triangulate that in the Sadhu Shastra. You triangulate that, and there's no shoulder faking around the truth. And thus we evolve. We broaden our soul, our door opens a little bit more to Krishna. And, he settles in, and you build that nishtha, you build that faith, that steadiness, because, you listen to that one. If you get 365 lines a year under your belt, then you're doing well. So that's one thing that we also all should remember, that it is true. Some line, one word even. I remember the word. I was reading this is a couple years ago, and still the word is on my mind. Ananya, no other. Ananya, no other. That one word, in the moment that I was reading it, reminded me the fact that we should have no other concerns, and that there is no other person to whom we should be turning our attentions to, our remembrance to, our contemplation of. There should be no other that takes priority over Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhujini. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a couple of those lines that have stayed with me. One is from Krishna book, and it's a line that even His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj holds dear to him, which is, and it's from the later chapters of Krishna book, around chapter 90 or so, which is, a person's greatness must be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. And it is spoken about in terms of Krishna, not in terms of the devotees. So it is spoken about in terms of the Lord tolerating provoking situations. Which, if now your curiosity is piqued, go ahead and read the super excellent qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the name of the chapter in Krishna book. It's in the later ones. And so if you look around chapter 89, 90, 91, somewhere around there, you'll find it. But the line is, a person's greatness must be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. And it becomes a really wonderful, incredible tale that unfolds from this one line. But it's also something that I've held with me and walked with for a lot of my life, thinking that, okay, if I think I'm having to tolerate some provoking situations, even the Lord of the universe has also had to tolerate some provoking situations. And then another one from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, from the story of Shakshi Gopal. In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna must create a circumstance in which everyone is happy. And he uses the word must. And I've gone over this line for so many years because to me it almost feels as though the Lord of the universe has no rules, but he has this one. When there is a situation involving so many different people, the Lord must create a situation in which everyone is pleased somehow. And that has given me hope. Because not only is he creating situations where others are pleased, but then he's not going to forget about me also. He will absolutely create a situation. He must. It's like a rule for him. He must create a situation in which everyone is pleased. So sometimes those one-liners, making the mind our best friend, sometimes it's enough for us to just remember and walk with Krishna for the rest of our days. It gives us the encouragement, the fortitude, the strength to tolerate provoking situations. Bhima Prabhu, is your hand up again, or was that from before? I think it was from before.
Yeah, that was from before. I've run out of things to say, which is an amazing thing. Just I'm totally amazed.
Min, is that also you from before, or did you have another thing to add? Also from before.
No, I wanted to ask you a question
Sure.
in follow-up to what you just spoke, because it made me think about what you had said earlier in class about regarding fear and what would we do if we didn't have any fear. I like a lot of things, but unfortunately, I feel like I live with so much fear. Even the ones sometimes like I didn't even know that I had that fear. Part of my practice at this point is that so I'm not sure if it's the best thing or a good thing to do, but my life at this point is pretty peaceful and I'm kind of free to do what I like to do. But I am in the transitional time where it'll change at some point. And so I'm trying to utilize this time to sort of prep myself in many ways because I'm fearful that my mind will go somewhere else once the schedule changes to really hectic schedule or I have to go somewhere else. And so in many ways, my practice, I see it as like I'm trying to even get it into my body by just doing reading and trying to just be with Krishna as much as I'm able to. But part of that is coming from the fact that I am a little fearful of what would happen and if my life changed a little bit. And it's almost like I'm prepping myself for it without really knowing what that's going to look like. Is that okay? Instead of doing everything from like, I love Krishna, so I want to do it because I don't necessarily feel like that all the time at this point.
Yeah, no, that's natural. That's like you see the weather outside and you don't just like, I love all the weather, I'm going out. No, you put on a coat when it's cold and you get an umbrella when it's raining, like the other day, and you do all the things, you prep, because that's smart. And so fortifying yourself with all of these things that will come in handy later is smart. Krishna is telling these Pandavas about all of these Ekadashis because they're going to need them later. While they're in exile, they'll ask, oh, but Krishna, why did all these things befall us? He's like, well, I can tell you, you missed a fast here, 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 but you can make it up in this way. No problem. Krishna knows that they're going to need all of these things. And so sometimes Krishna is prepping us. And so if we don't think that the Lord is always communicating with us, he is, even now, with that feeling of, I feel as though I'm going to need some fortification because I'm going to have to be more involved in the world and in those responsibilities than I have been right now. Let me fortify myself with Krishna Katha. Let me fortify myself with 30 minutes in the morning. Let me fortify myself with finding those podcasts of narrations of Bhagavatam that I really like, so that while I'm getting ready in the morning, brushing teeth, showering, doing whatever, I can just fortify myself with 10-15 minutes of Krishna Katha. I promise you it'll stay with you. Because just before this lecture, I was listening to a narration of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and it was literally only 10 minutes. And now it has stayed with me to the point where I'm like, And I've heard this already, like 3-4 times. I've heard it already 3 times this year. And still, it's one of my most favorite things to do, one of my most favorite things to listen to. Just put it on and allow yourself to go through whatever you're going through in life. If you are thinking, okay, I'll have to wake up earlier to chant some japa before I go out into the world, then you're right to prep now. It's smart. And that's what we have to do. We have to use our intelligence in the service. And the great thing is that this is you using your intelligence in Krishna's service by being prepared. And that desire to be prepared then brings Krishna. Krishna says, oh, my devotee wants to be prepared. Let me help you. So you'll find there'll be loads and loads of help just because you had a desire to be prepared. Krishna will reciprocate because Bhagavad Gita, he says he must. Ye tamam prapadyante tam stateva pajamyam. I have to. It's
Right,
his own
right,
move.
Krishna. What a very intelligent question about fearlessness. Very intelligent question about fearlessness. Can you hear us okay? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada tells us, and the Bhagavad Gita is stated very simply, there are three things to remember. Of course, just like Mataji was saying, the principle of fortifying our intelligence with listening to Shastra. Vaishnav Shekabu says, if we don't hear enough Shastra, then we begin to imagine injustices. But one of the things we can hear is these 3 points. Krishna is in control. Not just sometimes. Krishna is in control. That's the first point. Krishna is my friend. Surdam Sarva Bhutanam. If he's in control, but if he's not my friend, I'm in trouble. If he's my friend and he's not in control, what's the use of him being my friend, you know? So Krishna's in control. That's one point. Krishna's our friend. And we are meant to please Krishna. If we forget that we're supposed to please Krishna, we leave that out. If we leave out any one of those, then we will not be peaceful. But with those 3 points, if we always remember them, Machi was saying, without being disturbed, you know, an intelligent person is one who's not disturbed. And the Bhagavad Gita explains, what does it mean not to be disturbed? You don't feel the heat, you don't feel the cold, you don't feel the infamy, you don't feel the, you know, ups and downs. No, these things go on. But what's not disturbed is my service to Krishna. So therefore, our relationship with the spiritual master, how can I serve you? And he gives you a service. When we have a service to fix ourselves on, then whether people praise us, blame us, whether it looks like a big success or a complete dud, you know, whether, you know, people laugh at us or ignore us, doesn't matter. We know what our service is and we just do that. The results are up to Krishna. It's all there in scripture. You're entitled to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So when you have a duty, you have a guru, you have a relationship, you have a service, and you fix on that, then you're not disturbed no matter come what may. Because like Mataji was saying, Krishna, Maya will throw the kitchen sink at you. Everything but the kitchen sink and then the kitchen sink. Anyway, I'm talking too long. All glory to Prabhupada. Krishna's our friend, Krishna's in control, and we are meant to please Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
I mean, that's the thing. She has to throw everything and the kitchen sink at you. That's
That's her job.
and if her service is undisturbed, if her service is disturbed, then she's thinking, hey, I'm meant to do uninterrupted seva. And so she really takes her seva seriously. So what if we also do our service that seriously?
The quickest way to get rid of fear is to face it and ask Krishna to bring it on. Queen Kunti, what I feel is one of the greatest prayers in the Bhagavatam, is to let the calamities come again and again. For to see these calamities is to see you, Krishna. And then she goes on to describe his wondrous, you know, presence in her life during those times. We make note of the fact that Krishna is always involved in some sort of, in this world, some sort of warfare, some sort of MMA going on, mixed martial arts going on. The original mixed martial art experts were Balaram and Krishna in the wrestling arena. They bring it on. And so, you know, as a person myself who's worked really hard to gain the material things that I have, of course, what comes after that is fear of losing those things. So we have to stand strong in the faith that we can say to Krishna, okay, you want to take it away? You want to take this service away? I remember a Mataji who was unbelievable garland maker and would always stay into the wee hours when people would cancel. Matajis would cancel at the Boston Temple, and she would make garlands, and it was all about the garlands, and everybody was always noticing her wonderful garlands. And then one day, the temple president said, "I don't want you making garlands anymore." And later on, she took me aside, was crying like, I can't believe that I don't like this temple president. He was a new one, and he doesn't know how important the garlands are to me and everything like that. And I was just watching her reaction to that, which was endearing because, she loved her service. But ultimately, and think about that, your whole devotional existence is around a particular acumen or talent that you've developed for the sake of Krishna, and then all of a sudden he takes it away. It's crazy stuff. That's crazy work, but that's what Krishna is all about. That's crazy work. He's going to bring these fears on. There's no growth, no pain, no gain. Face the fears. Whatever you're fearing, look at it, stare at it, walk into it. Ask Krishna to bring it on. If he's going to bring on a troubled life for you and you're not going to be able to chant your rounds properly and read the books properly or even associate properly, well, you still got Krishna in your heart. And that's when, as Prabhupada said, that's when you turn to Krishna, because there's no atheists in a foxhole. And after all, in as much as we're not pure devotees, we are atheists. We don't believe that Krishna is in our lives. Hare Krishna.
Well, you can't end like that, Bhima Prabhu.
There's
Yes,
a
he can.
mic drop. There's a mic drop.
Did you hear that? That was exactly a mic drop. He does what he wants.
Yeah. Thank you. Lata O, followed by Narottam Nitai, and we'll wrap it up, dear devotees. Lata O, Narottam, please. Okay, Lata O
Sorry,
is ready.
Prabhuji.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, Prabhuji. I was just trying to unmute myself. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Such a nice class. So many good points. I don't know how much points I've written. My whole page is full. So thank you so much for this amazing class. I just had one quick question, Mataji. So, as you said, Krishna must help us. It's because of his nature, right? But how do we cultivate the humility? And how do we cultivate the surrender that is needed to be receptive to what Krishna is offering us to help us, especially when we may feel disconnected or overwhelmed by difficulties in our lives. How do we have that humility and surrender, Mataji?
Are you naturally a proud person, Lata?
So, proud person, Mataji?
Yeah.
Probably I am, Mataji. I have a lot to work
What
on
do you
my
mean,
humility.
probably? You don't know if you are or not? This is my problem with the humility question. What does that really mean? I've seen so many people ask this question, even of
Mhm.
my Guru Maharaj. How can I become more humble? How do I take care of humility? And I'm really thinking, are you actually naturally a proud person, or is this just a thing that we say? Like, is that devotee code word for something else? And that's my question. My question is, what's really at the heart of this? Because how do I develop surrender? What do you mean? You have to surrender every day. You're surrendering
Yeah.
every moment.
Mhm.
Surrender means you simply don't leave. And Adipurush Prabhu just told us, our surrender is Krishna is in control, Krishna is my friend, and I am meant to please Krishna. So now if this is my real identity, Krishna is in control, Krishna is my friend, I'm meant to please Krishna, then we have no other choice. The surrender is built into those three truths. And if we can carry those three truths within our lives, then the surrender is built in. I feel as though surrender is the natural state. We are surrendering far more than we think because we are very incapable of a lot of things. We are not capable of much at all. And I think that is where the pride comes in. The fact that we think that we're capable of so much. What in the world do we really think that we're capable of?
Yeah.
We're not capable of anything. If somebody wants to come and then it's like, oh, but they gave me a service. Okay, perform it. They took that service away. Okay, find another one. I speak as a person who has had several services given and taken away. How can I develop a taste for hearing and chanting? Easy. Krishna will set up a situation in your life where you'll have no one else but him to hear and chant. I grew up, and for the first 12, 13, 14 years of my life, I had no friends. Literally, not one. I spent a lot of time by myself. And then Krishna gave me a situation where you could be angry, you could be bitter, you could do a whole bunch of things, or you can find an escape. My escape was Shastra. It was the best escape ever. Best place to escape to. There was always something happening in Shastra. There was always something happening in Ramayana. Always something happening in Mahabharata. So sometimes we don't have to worry about that. Life comes built in with the surrender and the humility. Krishna knows expertly how to curb our pride, which is why I asked you, are you naturally a proud person? And you said, probably so. I was like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, no, no, Mataji. I mean, you put it so well. The first point itself, when you told me, "Are you a proud person?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to say." I mean, I don't know. Like at points, I would feel like, "Okay, I did this today. Okay, I'm happy." But am I proud? Like I need to keep checking myself. But it doesn't mean like, there's a lot that I can work upon. And what you said is surrender should be a natural state or constant state of mind. That was so amazing. So I've written that down as well, Mataji. So amazing answer. And yeah, I mean, maybe I need to work a lot on myself. So yeah, that's what I
No,
learned. Yeah.
actually, I
Yeah.
think you should probably take it easier on yourself. And
Okay. Mm.
my point with bringing Srimad Bhagavatam to the forefront and saying, what would we do without fear, is because we do this thing and we're constantly putting ourselves in the center. No, 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 I can't think about
Mm.
Krishna because I'm trying to become more humble. And Krishna's like, hey, if you just read about this awesome, awesome adventure that I want to. No, 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 I'm too busy trying to figure out how to become more humble. Krishna's like, or we could go on an adventure and go save Gajendra the elephant. No, no, no. I'm trying to figure out how to surrender and become more humble. So Krishna is running after us, throwing pastimes at us left and right. All we have to do is give our minds a break. The mind that is constantly telling you, oh, look at all these things. Look at, who cares if you said, look what I did today? Because yes, we can say, wow, look at the opportunity for service that Krishna gave me today. And then we follow it up with, Srila Prabhupada, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because I know that at any moment, this service could be done by anyone else. Just the same way that Krishna has empowered me, he can empower somebody else in an instant, a heartbeat. And then what is my life? So I'm so grateful because at any moment, this particular service of getting the ability to speak Krishna Katha on an Ekadashi morning, delving into the topics of Vaishnav etiquette and all of the lives of Vaishnavacharyas and all of the lives of Srimad Bhagavatam warriors and superheroes could be given to someone else at any time.
Mm.
So Srila Prabhupada, I'm so grateful. But yes, I also like for my family to tell me I did a good job after the lectures. I'll be calling them. But it doesn't have to mean that I'm proud. Humility, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says that one of the emblems of humility is Hanuman. Does he look like a person who doesn't talk about what he does? This is Hanuman. He's ready to do anything and everything for the pleasure of Sri Ram. But that was his humility. His humility is described as Radhanath Maharaj as pride in the greatness of God. Because none of this really depends on me. I didn't create the situation where I had no friends. If it were up to me, I'd have loads of friends. Be the most popular person ever. But that wouldn't have been the same for my Krishna consciousness. So wow, Krishna. Even though those were obstacles, it was lonely. It was not great. I was bullied a lot. And sometimes you might think, oh no, why does that happen to children? But actually, look what it did. I found friends that will never leave me. Prahlad Maharaj was then a friend that would never leave. And when you see Prahlad Maharaj come up in later parts of Srimad Bhagavatam, you're excited to see that friend. Oh, my Prahlad Maharaj has come again. I recently learned about a younger brother of Shri Krishna. His name is Gada. And this is a few years ago. And then I would read, and every so often I would see Gada show up. And, oh, my friend! Dive into Bhagavatam. Find out the family members of Krishna. Find out who's there in Krishna's life. They will be friends that will never ever leave you. And I guarantee you, the world, Maya Devi, what a great devotee she is. She'll make sure that you're humble and surrendered. Because this place is a place of humble surrenderings at every moment. And just when you think that you've got it down and you've got a good routine, there will be someone to disrupt that routine.
Hmm.
So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. It's coming. But how do we handle it? His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj said, when you're looking for Krishna, don't try to see his face first. Try to look for his hands. If you can see the hands of the Lord in every situation in your life, seeing Krishna is not long after. So yeah, there will be hard things that we go through. Sometimes rough, unspeakable things. But you've never been walking through them alone, because Krishna is our friend, vowing never ever to leave us. And that is a supreme promise. Krishna does not break those promises. So we have to believe that Krishna is our friend, walking beside us at every moment, especially when the calamities come again and again, because they will. I hope that answers.
Oh, Mataji.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
Mataji, thank
never
you so
know.
much. Thank you. That was so good.
I never
Lot,
know when Acyuta Gopi is doing a mic drop, because all the lines she makes are like mic drops. Thank you.
it does.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Mataji.
okay. Narottam Nithai Prabhu, followed by Mathuranath Prabhu, followed by Krishna in the form of time. It's 8:34. Please, Narottam Nithai.
Nonetheless, I wanted to share. We're really happy to hear from you and love your kirtans. I've shared your kirtans with many devotees, especially from Bangladesh. So my question is, well, not my question. I just wanted to share something. So I just came to the temple in Farmington Hills, Michigan, Radha Gopi Vallabha, when it was established in 2017. There was Radha Maharaj was here, and there was such a amazing effulgence of love coming from the deities. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was filling the entire temple space and beyond. It was really amazing. Like when the deities were being installed, and the experience is just like beyond mystical, beyond magical. It was amazing. I still remember it, and I feel like I need to like work really hard just so that Krishna can, reciprocate with that type of love and affection again. So, um, this I just wanted to offer that, and then I know Radha Maharaj emphasizes like deity worship a lot because of the sense of controlling our senses and being able to a third verse of the Shashastakam. So, anyways, I'm just trying to be here, trying to do what I can. I actually got inspired to come to the temple now to do some service and chanting, and so I'll be doing that. I just wanted to share my 2 cents because I don't know what else to give other than the story. So I really appreciate it. Anyways.
Thank you, Narottam Nithai Prabhu. Please keep us posted on all the wonderful projects Krishna is inspiring you to take upon. Please keep us posted. We want to be your accountability. Mathuranath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Two quick things. One thing about humility is there's actually a workshop going on this weekend by Mahatma Prabhu and next weekend on humility. And there is really brilliant. He's really breaking down what humility really is. And a lot of time we think as aspiring Vaishnavas or maybe Vaishnavas that humility means a way we act. Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat. It's an act, but actually it's the opposite. It's being authentic, truly being who we are from where we're at, is being humble. And there's a misconception to try to be something we're not. And he really breaks this all down, so many different aspects of how we can work on ourselves from with humility. And so I recommend it. He's done one. This is the second one he's doing. It's called Small is Powerful. Check it out. And also another thing, how Krishna helps us. I'm traveling right now. I'm like, what am I going to eat for EKADASI? I don't eat outside food. And I looked. I have pre-prep dal, and I have rice to make. And I looked in the fridge, and somehow I had bought buckwheat bread. And somehow Krishna provided buckwheat bread for me. So if we have the desire, he helps us in amazing ways. I'm going to eat these little buckwheat breads all day.
Eat buckwheat bread as an offering to Krishna.
Yes.
Is eating buckwheat bread pleasing to Krishna, Acyuta Gopi? On Ekadashi? Is that bona fide?
I mean, sure, but if you offer it, like I was at a holy name immersion with His Holiness Satchidananda Maharaj, and he had us on a panel because he's really incredibly merciful with giving us second gens a chance to speak something about something. And I was encouraging everyone not to just accept the bare minimum in their spiritual lives anymore. Like, we always have a choice. Are we simply accepting the bare minimum in our spiritual lives? Because if we were just accepting the bare minimum, like we hear it, it's in like relationship culture now. Everybody's looking at their relationships like, don't accept the bare minimum from your person. They're just going to text you once a day. How dare they? They should be completely obsessed with you. But that's what we do to Krishna, right? And sometimes we don't even give the one text a day. We are accepting way less from ourselves of the bare minimum than what we could give to Krishna. So yeah, eat the buckwheat bread, but do something to it. Make it nice for Krishna. Krishna likes really, really tasty things. And so there are times when I think you can take the most simple thing, you can take fruit, but do it with love. Offer it with love, even if it's to a picture. Cut it up nicely. Oh, it's going to take 5 extra minutes. Okay. And when we need Krishna to save us, we're not sitting there like, oh, Krishna, save us if it doesn't take 5 minutes extra off of your day. Please save me if you have time to maybe get back, So I say, take the buckwheat bread and do the most with it. Do the absolute most.
Thank you.
Haribo. I will offer it, and I'm going to put a little almond cream cheese on it and some ghee.
Right.
I put in the chat the link to Small is Powerful, the seminars this weekend and next weekend, if anybody's interested.
Thank you, Matarnath Prabhu. Thank you, Acyuta Gopi. Karen, finally, let's complete the offering. Where is Isaiah? Is he prepared to chant Hare Krishna as loud as he can? Annabelle? Yeah, that's how you chant. You chant desperately.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Isaiah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Acyuta Gopi Devidasi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, all the wonderful assembled devotees ki jai. We love you. We need you. Happy Ekadashi. Make it nice for Krishna, and he will reciprocate. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.